and they're facing off against Rise Nation, currently 2-0, Landon.
Yeah, Rise Nation has looked absolutely incredible. Was able to actually cast over their match versus Team Revenge, and they made Team Revenge look absolutely silly, to say the least. Of course, coming off a win last night versus Optic Gaming, not an easy team in any way to face off against. So they're looking pretty good, and I'm sure the confidence is definitely in their favor right now.
Yeah, so if you take a look at your screen, we got everything color coordinated here. Rise Nation will be that sort of, what is that, like a burgundy kind of, like reddish brown kind of thing, whatever, that's Rise Nation's colors. They're going to be on that color on the left. And then we have Enigma 6, the yellowish color on the right, so keep an eye out on your mini-map.
It used to be E6 gold, kind of works,
There we go. And if you keep an eye on your kill feed and everything like that, everything's nicely color coordinated for you. First map is going to be Retaliation Hardpoint. Retaliation should be an interesting map for a lot of the AR players, or more so the ones running that NV4. Those long lines of sight, they can be so dangerous around the likes of Bridge, and then when we get over to Market, especially when they get set up around Broken Hill. That's where the NV4s can really shine on this map, so expect to see something like that in the hands of maybe General for Enigma 6, and on the side of Rise, Facento and Aqua might rock that a little bit for the team.
Absolutely, and to kind of break down a little bit, because I know we talked about Rise Nation, their run so far in the pools and how they've been doing, obviously doing incredibly well. Only other team who's currently 2-0 is Allegiance. But to kind of break down kind of Enigma 6's matches kind of leading up and how they were able to get to this point, since they were actually able to beat Orbit EU. Now that's obviously an incredibly talented roster, placing second at PSX just behind FaZe. Without question, at least in my opinion, one of the top teams from the open bracket. I was really thinking they're going to make it to pools. Unfortunately, though, they end up dropping. That was a 2-0 win for Enigma 6. And then to qualify, they end up taking out Rogue 2-0. So some interesting matches. They've obviously had their work cut out for them, not just Friday, but also this morning as well. And I'm sure that they're very hot coming in this match versus Rise. Should be a good one.
Yep, taking down some of those professional teams should be a good confidence boost for E6 as they get into pool play. They're no stranger to getting into pool play, though. I think it'll be really interesting to see them in their rematch against Optic Gaming later on today. I'm really excited to see that matchup.
Should be great.
Interesting storyline to follow. Let's give Enigma 6 some love here. We're going to get on board with Team Captain General. I mentioned should be running that NV4 for the squad. As you can see, decked out on attachments. He's got 5 of them on there. I'm going to take a look at the ARs for the side of Rise Nation so we can get an idea as to what our matchup's going to be here. Dexterity and a flak jacket is what I wanted to call it. A blast shield there for Aqua. And now we take a look at some other weapons. Vicente's going to be running the OSA rather than the NV4 this game. It's going to be Felony running the second NV4. Interesting choice there to Rise.
For sure. I'm definitely kind of interested to see as far as, one side, we look at Vicento. He's absolutely been going off in that series versus Optic Gaming that was actually on Alpha yesterday. The players are doing some interesting motions there. Vicento was playing incredibly well. Was really impressed with his performance. Kind of known as an OBJ player. And a lot of people kind of give him flack, but I think he's honestly a very talented player and definitely adds a lot to the Rise side. As far as E6 is considered, definitely looking at General. Of course, the captain when it comes down to E6, along with his teammates. It's basically their first major since MLG World Finals back in AW. So this is one of their first major tournaments. Of course, making it into groups is big, but now you've got a massive team in front of you, a very, very big powerhouse so far in MLG Vegas versus Rise.
Right. So here we are. We're going to give General some attention here. Seeing this roster reformed from what they originally were. It's an interesting storyline to follow. This is their first major event back together again, and General has definitely said that himself and a lot of his teammates have just grown so much over the past year or so of not being able to compete professionally. So I'm really looking forward to see just how much this roster has matured in terms of their communication, their practice regimen, the quality of their practice, and everything like that. General on my podcast, Play for Picks, he was talking about just how much he's tried to learn being a leader for this organization. Because he's always he's a part of Enigma 6. He's going to be on every iteration of the roster, but he's had experience with players like Proofy, Parasite, lots of veterans. So you'd imagine there's lots of different traits and skills that he's been able to learn, and now he can bring that back with the players that he really came on the map with. So General is going to find this engagement here in hallway. Aqua's going to shut him down though. Looney following that up with a kill as well, actually catching 2. So let's give Looney some attention here as we move over to our second hard point.
Yeah, second hard point underway. We'll see what Looney can potentially provide, as will be Rise Nation currently in some control. Looney trying to watch over his squad, trying to see if he can pick off a few players. Looks like a few for A6 kind of going through as they try to lock this one down. Looney finds one over actually in Bike Shop and ends up dropping. So nice little bit of slang coming out from E6. Of course, game is early, but kills are starting to go down, and E6 is definitely contesting with it.
Felony hops out of bedroom with the K-bar to try and connect with the player. Top plat. General in the power position is going to be the one to shut him down. Now it looks like we're seeing a top spawn here coming in from Felony. Should be able to just keep the pressure up on this objective here. Enigma 6 is posturing up for another push. K is going to be the frontline player. Finds one kill before being taken down. Ruiz catches one as well, but Rise Nation is responding with just as many kills. It's not looking like having any issues holding down lower street hardpoint, as we should be rotating the top soon. Rise is already in position, and they're holding off the Enigma 6 front from bridge.
Yeah, they're trying to make their way through. Can they make something happen? Cade and Ruiz, the duo, trying to make a few things go through. Nades out. Looks like the trophies aren't there exactly for the side of Rise Nation, but kills going through. Cade ends up dropping, so it seems that Rise Nation, though, looks like the front is able to hold, as it will be a continuous push here from that bridge side. And of course, rotations are going to be coming in at about the 30 to 25 second mark. Of course, the next hill over in destroyed building is what you really want to focus your eyes on. Definitely, at least in a lot of pro players' opinions, the money hill when it comes down to retaliation.
Cade pushing in, not able to connect with anything after reloading. Looney's going to find yet another two-piece around the objective. He is currently on a 3-streak, K-bar in hand. The rotation should be coming in soon after this final push. Just 30 seconds left. If Enigma 6 fails this one, you know they want to spawn out towards Broken, get that initial time. But it looks like they've actually slayed Rise Nation out and given them those broken spawns. So not only are they not getting the scrap time on this previous, there we go, they're able to break it at the last second. Cade takes him out, but they still lost the rotation to the next hill here.
Yeah, in some ways maybe a little bit of a mistake on the side of E6 as Rise Nation get gifted that. Of course, they are in the lead, and that lead could potentially be growing, so it looks like it will drop from behind. Looney ends up falling, and Proto now rushing through that backside. So it seems that E6 yet again have taken over a hill, but will they get any time along with it? Tony just off to Proto's right. We'll see if he tries to challenge this one, but Aqua falls in from the side. And Rise Nation still holding true as that lead's getting even closer to that 100-point mark. And it seems that players from E6 are spawning out. Proto is nowhere near as those guys are going to be coming from bridge. Rise holding down the setup yet again.
Yeah, I think Proto hesitating right there to hop into the hardpoint contested. He was trying to just remain anonymous until he really needed to shoot anything. He ended up getting pinched there, though. I think he was just expecting someone to expose themselves so that he could get a free kill and wait for his team to get a little bit closer on that flank. But didn't work out for him. Rise Nation gets the hill time. And look, as soon as they lose it, they come right back. Aqua opens up with a two-piece. Vicento in there as well with the opening engagements, and they're able to get some more hill time and mount this huge lead that they have, 117 to 35 and counting.
Yeah, it's not that E6 are just having a hard time slaying, it's just that they're just not getting the good spawns. They're having good team pushes here and there, but they quickly get shut down. So E6 not necessarily getting absolutely outslayed, it's just that Rise Nation has made the correct rotations and happened to get some good spawns here and there. But of course, last hill of the first side rotations, Rise Nation yet again trying to hold their way through as Cade finds two. Looney still going to be holding down that hill. Clutch it out. He is going to get a few hit markers, nothing going down as far as anything yet, but Vicento actually ends up using one of his rigs, nothing coming of it, but still, a good sized lead here for Rise Nation. They've already copped a 100-point lead, and 100-point advantage, rather. And it looks like E6 trying to push through here.
General finding 3 kills to get on this hard point. He's currently on a 3-streak. This is the first amount of hill time he's really gotten this game, and now set up for a close quarters engagements with that Osa. He's in a pretty good position. 20 seconds left on the hard point. Not too much pressure coming in as General is getting a lot of uncontested and unanswered time, as well as those score streaks. He's able to get himself a Scarab that could be useful as we move over maybe back to this hill again, or if they have to break the top hill. But for this bridge hard point, I can't imagine the Scarab being too useful for Enigma 6. I think we can expect to see him hold on to that to the later parts of the rotations and hard points here.
Yeah, we talked about General's performance.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad of a spot to use. He should have had more pressure, like more team support right there. He shouldn't have had to use a Scarab, I feel.
Rise Nation yet again getting a little bit of control. E6 struggling here, but General actually going to find one just to the side. So Rise Nation, we always talk about their players and what they've really added to the team. Moody, a recent addition to this roster for Nagafen, has really done a great job of just adding communication, kind of keeping that jagged line that Rise Nation likes to do with a bunch of different strategies, and kind of having that consistency that I think the Rise group really, really needed. So a lot of good slayers on this roster. Vicento has been doing absolutely fantastic throughout this entire weekend as well. We'd love to know the KDs, but of course those will be released a little bit later. But still, Rise looking incredibly strong here. It will be E6 getting some points here and there, but that was a big kill that Aqua actually got on Cade there, because now they're going to have full control, and no E6 player is actually going to be rotating over. Yeah,
Cade really needed to win that engagement against Aqua, but Aqua just sniffing out the rotation very easily. Simple gunfight win for him, and now he's in control with his team. The lead, though, diminishing a little bit. They're only up by about 60 seconds. Still, though, they are winning the rotation. They're set up and prepared. Enigma 6 coming in a little bit of a split push spawn. But let's keep looking at this through the eyes of Rise Nation. They're set up. They find those initial 3 kills, and you can just see how easily they're able to drop all Enigma 6 players and force them to wipe and spawn out and have to make another push all over again.
Yeah, it seems that Rise are just doing a great job of just getting 3 or 4 down as soon as the hill sets, and it's like, well, does E6 try to rotate? Do they try to do something else? They just seem to try to keep forcing their way through, but thankfully the redstone that Rise has, it's not usually likely, but there we go. E6 able to get a few bits of seconds, as I believe Cade actually uses his FTL jump to make sure, try to secure that one, finds one on stairs. It seems they can finally take a little bit of a breath of fresh air as they can finally lock down a little bit of time. And of course, rotations getting ready to come over toward Grave. Rise is going to go ahead and say, sayonara, we'll go ahead and get on the rotation as E6 grab the scrap points, but Rise will be on the rotation.
Cade, no reason to challenge that gunfight top stairs just yet. He's going to stay in cover and get that hill time for his team. Maybe let someone else challenge that or double team him. That's going to be player 7, Ruiz, the closest one to the action. He finds the kill for him. Great communication and coordination there. He's able to follow it up with a second kill, and now Enigma 6 gets some hill time and completely takes over on that hard point. Spawning Rise Nation out towards middle map. Vicento pushes in by himself and pays for it dearly. 2 players fall. Easy, free time for Enigma 6 as Rise Nation should spawn a little bit further out, but no, because the rest of the team waited patiently, they're able to give them lower Market Street spawns so they can still make a decent push without wasting too much time from those mistakes. Looney just around the corner, setting up, trying to find an advantageous gunfight, and he catches him with it. However, Proto's 2-piece is going to shut down that play entirely.
Indeed it is, and of course, like I said, the rotations are what are important. Of course, E6 could definitely bring this one back, and thankfully, since Rise Nation is rotating, they'll say, we'll take that, we'll potentially even get the lead here, as it will be E6 who's made a massive comeback. But if we know anything about this next hill, Rise did a fantastic job at locking it down. I think Looney actually got a really good spawn this last time, but it seems that E6 trying to force the issue. Looking at Looney, watching through that side, actually that side bridge, as he's trying to lock this one down, trying to make sure that when it comes down to the next rotation, that Rise has a lot of free time. They gave up a good 15 seconds. We'll see if it's worth their while as E6 get to push here from Cat.
Looney ready and waiting, pre-aiming, able to find his first kill. General, though, is across the way to trade him, and General in that power position, towards that power position, should be really useful for Enigma 6 as they're now set up for this hard point. Lots of time left to go on it, too. General, though, he has the OSA, so these mid to long range engagements that he's going to have around Market and scaffolding shouldn't be too easy for him unless the enemy team just doesn't shoot back. They're ignoring General. He finds 2 free kills, and Ruiz gets one on his own as well. And that was a really rough push from Rise Nation, and they're going to pay for it as they spawn out so far up top. And General has access to the reactive armor to get his next Scarab.
E6 are looking to maybe take lower to control. Proto drops, actually able to shut down one from the side. Cade ends up falling. And that looks like a nice push there at the end, I guess you could say for Rise Nation, but essentially they're Fox. I mean, is it really worth it to push for the last few seconds if the rotation's coming in, or do you try to set up for the next hill? Like, is it really worth to push that for the last few seconds?
This one isn't so bad just because the next hard point's in the middle of the map rather than the complete opposite side of it. Looney can just rotate late or come off in the last few seconds, depending on the situation. I don't think they wasted too much time of it, but still, Enigma 6 is coming back, and this is not looking good for them. This middle hard point is going to get a little scrappy. Looney and Vicento open up with 3 kills, or Looney, Vicento, and Aqua open up with 3 kills. That's going to put a damper on Enigma 6's push. As you can see on the minimap, they're spawning towards the bottom there. They have a long ways to go, and in that amount of time, Rise Nation is clawing right back into the game to grab their lead.
Fasten your seatbelts. This one could definitely come down to the wires. Both teams are tied. The Scarab comes in, doesn't get any kills with it. Aqua finds one from the side, and Ruiz does as well.
This is where I mentioned
currently
earlier.
holding strong.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Let me hear that.
Go ahead.
No, I was mentioning the scare we were talking about earlier. This is where I feel like it would be so useful, and we saw it right there. He was able to get them a free kill. Whereas when we saw him use it on bridge, it wasn't very useful. 20 seconds left on both teams to go until they can close this game out. Enigma 6 is in control of the hard point right now. No engagements going down in front of General. Rotations coming in. This is where the game should be decided, is on this bridge hard point. General acting as the front line's able to find himself 2 kills. 150 points away from his next score streak. This is his 3rd Scarab, and both times on bridge it's been ineffective. However, it does buy him a little bit of time. We're seeing the next engagement come up. OSA's got to reload though, just 4 bullets left in the mag. He still is able to find a kill. Trades going back and forth. 1 versus 1. It's Ruiz and Looney, and he still closes it out. Enigma 6 makes the comeback.
E6 makes a massive comeback. It seemed like it kind of started on that destroyed building as they're able to get the rotations through. General wins a few big gunfights, and Ruiz, the final kill cam, able to find 2. And just like that, E6 are going to take game number 1 versus Rise Nation. That was an incredible match to watch, but I got to say, throughout that entire game, it seemed like it was going back and forth. Rise Nation had the early lead. E6 started to bring that one back slowly but surely. And it seemed that a lot of the setups, I think when it was coming down to broken building, you were saying, General was kind of being a little bit of a nuisance. He was kind of swarming around the map, kind of catching the Rise Nation players off guard. And you got to admit, a lot of the late pushes that Rise were making were very, very sloppy.
And it's 31 kills coming from General here. 7 defends. The assault rifle player on the team running the OSA. Not entirely what we're, well, I'd say that's sort of fitting the playstyle that we saw from General back in Advanced Warfare, where he's just a really aggressive AR, high kill count kind of gains, incredible map pressure with his positioning, and it showed in that hard point there.
Definitely did. Now, as far as a lot of the maps that we've received from the set of Rise Nation, this is actually a hardpoint that they're very decent on, to be honest. I mean, Retaliation Hardpoint is a map that we've seen so far in this tournament where they've done pretty decent on. Of course, to let you guys know, the next map, it's actually going to be Scorch S&D, which I know If there's anything about these two teams, both of them like their search and destroy, so I'm curious to see how that one will obviously play out. But with that in mind, E6 takes game one. Not going to lie, I'm pretty surprised to see that result.
Yeah, especially with how much of a commanding lead Rise Nation started with, you would think that they'd be able to close it out. However, we saw they just started to slip up. General started to really heat up in that game and just take over. And I feel like Rise just it was a bit of a choke. I mean, they started off so strong. They were able, like their kill pressure was incredible. They were always wiping at least 3 of the 4 players of Enigma 6 all at once, and eventually Enigma 6 was just able to respond to it and mount that huge comeback.
Yeah, so we'll potentially see. I'm curious to see how Rise Nation does respond when it comes down to the search and destroy. Now, when it comes down to major players to be looking out for when the search and destroy, who do you think from E6 can definitely make a huge impact to try to win this game number 2?
We haven't seen enough of E6 in Infinite Warfare to really get a good gauge onto the form of all these players. However, I do remember General talking up Proto quite a bit and his place on the team and what he could. Oh no, I believe it was Imariz. Yes, it was Imariz. He compared Imariz's gameplay to sort of to Crimsix's style of play, and not in terms of the level of talent, like the ability, because I think we can both agree that Imariz and Crimsix are on 2 very different levels. But he compared the playing style. He said that he was such a nuisance in Search and Destroy because of his pathing and positioning, is that he becomes such a difficult player to kill. He's kind of like a, what did he say? He said he's just kind of like a sneaky beaver, just like a mole. He's always just in and out of incredible positions. He could be the player sitting around a corner just waiting for you, completely reading your play, and just doing things that you don't expect. So, General talking up his teammate quite a bit. I'm interested to see if he can carry through this game here. And as you can see in our rig draft on screen, Ruiz is going to be rocking that active camo, so that should enable a couple of those plays. And on the side of Rise Nation, I mean, we have what was the best search and destroy trio of players throughout all of Black Ops 3 in the form of Felony, Facento, and Aqua. We're really just missing Nagafin and such. But, Looney was certainly no slouch in S&D last year either.
Oh yeah, not at all. But I mean, when we kind of talk about Rise Nation, this is kind of like their playground. S&D is kind of like their playground. This is where they feel more comfortable. In no way is Hardpoint one of their best game types. They just happen to be doing very, very well in absolutely everything so far in this tournament. So, with that in mind, when it comes down to the specific map of Scorch, we always talk about the B site absolutely preferred. I mean, it's very, very rare if we see an A hit. Anything else, just because of the fact that there's only 2 really ways to come through, and it's just almost kind of like a suicide mission if you try to go to get that bomb down. So you're going to see a lot of B hits when it comes down to this map. I mean, a lot of nades going to be going down, most likely players rocking trophies. I was curious to see if we'd see anyone rock Centurion. I know Ricky from C9, I think it might have been Neslo from Echo Fox was rocking that one. So a little bit of different strategies here when it comes down to this map. We'll see how it does line out, though. Like I said, obviously E6 going to be in the lead, and Rise Nation got to come back in this one. Cannot go down, especially when you're up 2-0. Got to see if they can get that clean sweep.
And, we're talking a little about this matchup here with Rise Nation and 3 of the players formerly being on Elevate. One of the big things and one of the big storylines that I brought up when this roster formed was, well, the initial Elevate roster, their biggest struggle was respawn game modes. The only person that could really show up consistently was Aqua, and he really needed some help. Over time, they started to grow out of that issue. I feel like with the pickup of Felony, they definitely improved, but that was still a vulnerability to them with some of their hardpoint games. And my question was, with this replacement of Nagafin to Looney, are they going to backtrack on all that progress that they made, or are they going to see themselves improve any with this pickup? So we see them mount that huge lead on Retaliation hardpoint and then choke it. Enigma 6 coming right back to take the map. Is it just going to be like a repeat of what we saw Elevate doing before, where they would be able to force people to game 5 by stealing a respawn and then winning those S&Ds? Or, what exactly is the progress being made from this roster change?
Right. Should we be surprised to lose the hard point, or should we, be expecting that? It's kind of the question to be asking as this round number 1 does line out. But of course, Rise Nation going to be on the offensive side here off the break. Early nades coming in from E6 as they are expecting a push, and that's exactly what they're about to get. Early shots coming in, being exchanged. General and Ruiz able to find the first 2 off the start, and just like that, Felony wondering what just happened to my teammates, and all 4 down. E6 in absolute dominant control there of that B site.
That General's kill right there, where he was able to thrust jump and find the headshot, looked like the easiest, just spray down with the NV4 that I've ever seen. It was so quick, easy headshot, takes him off that chest high cover, and the B hit coming from Enigma 6 was obviously just superior. All 4 players of Rise go down in a unison.
Looks like a team ace actually coming in there from E6. You can see all cylinders firing here off the break. As now they're going to try their effort here on the offensive break here. Looks like they're going to be making an A hit, so this is not going to be expected. That player 3 is going to be Looney. He is going to spot that one in that backside hallway. Looks like they are going to try to back out As you can see, it looks like not really being baited, essentially.
And see, that's why this play is so dangerous to start off the game going towards A side, because there's someone that can watch that cross and see you going that way. And as soon as you're called out, you saw on the mini-map, some players hovered over towards A, so the play was foiled immediately. Enigma 6, they read this, they wrap the bomb back over towards Moon side, and now they're able to catch one in the corner. That's Aqua, who was waiting for this rotation, and now he's able to communicate that to the rest of his team. So they're going to wrap right back over towards middle map and B site to try and stop this plant, but it's going to be a difficult retake with that man disadvantage.
3 versus 4, like you just mentioned, the bomb is down, so only 40 seconds to work with. See if Ryans can pull off something pretty crazy. Of course, first bomb down here so far. Emery was able to shut down Felony. And it will be 2 versus 4. Both players kind of hovering around that observation side. Sento and Looney need to go big. Of course, neither of them yet to find a kill. Nobody on Rise yet to find a kill, actually, as they desperately need something when it comes down to it. But Looney trying to jiggle a little bit just to the corner. He's the last person alive, but can he find anything more? Able to find one, but can't find the second. Rise only has 1 kill after these first 2 rounds, and E6 are looking fantastic.
E6 off to a great start so far. I wouldn't count Rise out yet, though. I think it's time that we see that they adjust their strategies to what their competition is looking like. This is where someone like Vicento comes in handy for Rise Nation. He's able to shot call so well, get his teammates keep his teammates' head in the game, and try and orchestrate a new strategy and a new approach. Because it's looking like their normal executions just aren't working. They're being fooled pretty quickly.
So it looks like off of this run number 3, Vicento, and I think it actually is going to be Looney, kind of fooling around here over on that A potential, looking through middle as well. Looney looking toward that wall run. It might be just trying to experiment, just trying to find out how much map control they have. They realize that first offensive side was not something they want to repeat.
Oh, that's big.
That first blood does come through. Cade ends up responding, though. Actually can have a sniper rifle out in his hand, so that's something you're used to seeing when it comes down to Scorch. And Ruiz finding one as well, so Rise Nation, despite the knowledge that they were trying to gain, it seems that now it's going to be a 2 versus 2. Vicento just off to the side of one player. I believe that was Ruiz who decides to back up. So a 2 versus 2. Rise Nation need to win this round. They did not want to go down 3-0 to E6.
So we got Looney, we got Vicento playing over towards Warehouse and Wall Run. That commanding position we saw in middle map, I thought that they were going to do a whole lot with that once they got first blood, but then Cade responding with a kill of his own so quickly really shut down the big advantage that they had for themselves, because they could have taken it A and no one would have been able to watch the cross for the enemy team, so they could have gone and planted. But looks like that's going to be forward as everything's evened out. 2 players coming up behind them on Moon. Vicento has no idea. He gets tagged up, shut down. Cade's able to do it. No one from Rise Nation able to respond. It's just Looney in a 1 versus 2.
Yeah, Looney at this point just needs to kind of play his cards right. He does have those few wall runs to work with, so player just to his right needs to win that gun engagement. Player already on the bomb. He's able to make it happen, but he's realized the player's on the bomb. How close is Ruiz to defusing this one? Can he get it? No! I don't believe it's going to be in time. A massive clutch there for Rise Nation as they finally get a round on the board. It was looking pretty scary. I mean, when they were in that 2 versus 2, Vicento kind of looks the exact same way that Looney would have been checking. It was kind of like they don't really know off the break, off that bomb plant, which player was going to be looking which way, and they kind of get caught for it. But in the end, Looney is able to clutch it up narrowly by the narrowest of margins. I think that was maybe like a good, maybe not even half a second, maybe like a 0.2 before that bomb would have been defused, and when E6 could have been up 3-0.
That's the clutch that Rise Nation needed to put themselves right back in this game. You know, Vicento's hyping the team up, and I'm sure this is something they're going to take moving forward, is just how big of a play and how big of a moment that was for Looney. That's the mindset. That's going to help their mindset going on throughout the rest of this map. So 3 players sitting opposite side of Drill here. They don't really have too much map pressure there, so the bomb could go down at any point in time. However, the Scarab coming out is going to be a little bit of a deterrence once that, as Looney finds the first blood, and Felony and Aqua are given free reign to push up against the enemy team. 1 player left on Drill, tags him up, gets turned on, Ruiz. That's tragic.
That was, if you're under the age of 18, I highly suggest you turn away from your screen right now. Actually, you don't be able to see it too strong.
Great kill there.
You kind of did, yeah. But a good response there from Rise Nation.
Easy turn and burn.
So with that in mind, of course, now 2-2. E6 takes the first 2. Rise Nation respond, like Fox did mention, of course, maybe a little bit of momentum gain from that clutch that they were able to make. A near defuse for E6, but it seems that Rise Nation have obviously taken the momentum and are trying to run with it. Speaking of running, it looks like they're making their way over to that B side. Of course,
Speaking
E6
of running,
kind of expecting that particular one. Nades coming over, jammers as well, as General's able to find that first blood.
Jammer grenade going out is actually going to destroy some equipment there. It's going to be choking system just on the opposite side. Looney's just looking for an opportunity to find a kill before he tries to plant here. He doesn't want to poke out and get taken out by someone that's pre-aiming this. But it looks like Enigma 6 is choosing to play back and give them a lot of room to breathe here on Drill. He's going to get rewarded for their mistakes. He finds a kill, pushes them even further back into Medic, and Looney has a lot of options right now. He could choose to get aggressive, but he has the bomb. He could just go back and plant, but here Sees one jumping right over his head, and now he loses the bomb in enemy territory. That can be scary, a 1 versus 1 situation. I don't know if Proto saw that that's the bomb dropped on the ground, though. Now it's going to be Vicento and Proto both sort of posturing up around the site here. He has to have an idea as to where the bomb is at, considering all players died around mid and B site. But Vicento's going to grab that bomb.
Vicento just got great timing, actually, on Proto. Proto turns around, he grabs the bomb, and he's out of there. Bomb being planted as we look at the eyes of Vicento. You can obviously see the rotation coming in quickly there from Proto. He's going to get up close and personal. Vicento potentially might have hurt him. Just turns around to the awkward timing. Vicento not able to make it happen. We talk about COD timing. Vicento gets it early, but Proto laughing as he's able to get it there. And that's going to be a defusal for Proto. Going to give E6 now the advantage. It looks like he's got streaks as well as his rig. Yeah,
definitely an unfortunate time for him to turn away. Just looked just a little bit longer, just held that angle just a little longer. It's going to be huge for it. Look at that.
Such
man.
Timing. I really don't think he saw him, but he might have. It might have just been like a split-second type thing. I don't know. COD timing, man, definitely showing up there. So with that in mind, E6 3-2 up, as this one has been a brawl back and forth. As it will be looking like E6 is going to be on the offensive side here off the start. It looks like a typical push here when it comes down to the offensive side. Rise Nation just being well aware of either side, just trying to make sure they don't get fooled in any way. Trophies out for Proto. It seems to be a typical offensive hit, that plant going down. And generally, he's already got his rig, so it seems that they're not going to try to stack anything for the time being. But E6 doing a great job at locking this one down. It looks like number 8, General, watching the flank, doing a great job as well. E6 have a great setup right now. The Scarab coming out as well. Rise Nation needs to find that first blood to try to make a push happen.
They have access to the Scarab that can use the 3P to sight. He's able to catch one player just as they turn the corner. The trophy system is also a huge help to keep their map pressure up. No lethals and tacticals really upsetting any of these players in their power positions. Cade and Proto find 2 kills. There it is. That's going to close out the round. Awesome site defense there following the plant coming from Enigma 6. Great use of their utility. I believe they still have access to Rewind. So that could just be what closes out the game for them later on if they play their cards right. On the side of Rise Nation, 2 of the stronger players in Search and Destroy here, Felony and Aqua, not really contributing a whole lot to this match in terms of the kill column.
It seems that Rise Nation's kind of sporadic. I mean, they looked at A heavily. Like, they don't really know exactly what E6 is throwing at them. And at any time, they're kind of reversing what Rise Nation likes to do to a lot of other teams. Is that the addition of Looney, or is that just how good E6 is? We'll find out. 2-4 currently. What Rise Nation, the lead they have to make up. Watching the flank there as Vicento decides to turn around. Looney with that bomb in hand. Reactive armor as well. But here come the streaks. The training rockets coming down. Proto able to shut down one. It's going to be Looney. So they do have not just a kill, but they also do have an idea as to where these players are on the mini-map. Aqua watching the back. Cade currently in observation. Not finding anyone as of the time, but it seems that Rise Nation have backed up and E6 still pushing forward.
There it is. Looks like Felony's the one closest to the action. He's going to find his first engagement. Tagged up a little bit. Has access to the bomb and doesn't want to die in enemy territory like that. But he needs to stay in this fight. He's going to tag up some players. Gunfight's still going in favor of Enigma 6, though. All players on Rise Nation fall as they fail to trade on site. And E6 is 1 round away from closing out map number 2 and taking a 2-0 series lead on Rise Nation.
E6 are just walking through Rise. I mean, Looney has reactive armor. He decides not to push the bomb. He easily could have got a plant down, but it seems that maybe they're just not planned when it comes down to this map. Is E6 just playing mind games at this point? They're going to have 2 rigs. They're only 1 round away from closing this one out, and Rise Nation is literally 1 round away from being down 0-2 versus a team that just came from the open bracket. I mean, these guys are 2-0 in their pool. They should be absolutely demolishing, but E6 is something a little bit different. Their story seems to be written differently.
And this is just really typical E6 fashion, man. Like, just this roster, what they've been able to do. They're not intimidated by their competition. They'll put up a fight against some of the best teams in the game, and they're showing it here in a second title. Ruiz is able to open up with the first blood. That gives them the opportunity to put this bomb down. Let's see how Rise Nation responds on defense.
And the bomb is down, like you just mentioned, Aqua. The boys from Rise Nation trying to take over the side, but he just stops from the right side. Cade is the last person alive. He's able to shut down 1. Can they get the 1 versus 3? Vicento, the last man alive. Kind of one of the major players for this roster. Vicento's able to clutch it up. So with that in mind, a breath of fresh air coming in from the Rise side. Vicento clutches yet again, and that defusal will come in as well. Rise not out of this one just yet.
So Rise, they're putting themselves right back into this game. I believe Vicento has access to his payload. That could come in handy here. If anyone from E6 pops there, you should expect to see a rewind come in from Vicento.
Can I ask you one question really quick? Rise Nation.
That's your one question. You're all out.
You're on offense. Do you decide to maybe try to force the issue on B yet again, as they've countlessly did and it's not really worked out, or do you try to make maybe like a delayed push toward A? What do you try to do in this situation?
I liked the play where they sent, I believe, Looney mid with an in before he got to that first bud, and they could have played towards the A site from that. I'd like to see them try that again. B side really doesn't seem to be working out so hot for them, even if it is the favorite site of this map. Sometimes I think you need to switch it up.
See how it works out for them here. Sento getting jammered off the start spot, one in observation, not able to find any shots through, but still we talk about the rigs earned for either side. Sento has his, the rewind, he could rocket at any point, but there he goes, he starts to rocket, but it looks like the streaks come in, not anything found for the time being. Bomb still in Looney's hands as he's yet to plant it down.
And that was great timing on the rewind there too, he's able to avoid the streaks from killing him. As you go untargetable and everything, you get your health back with rewind. It's definitely useful. Placento here is able to come up and get a kill just the same time as Ruiz. Really awkward choke point there. He's getting shot from one different direction, has to look in another. Cade is able to find a kill. Just him now. He's able to clear out the rest of the team as well. Enigma 6 ending map number 2 to go up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, big plays there from E6 as it was kind of, at this point, kind of expected, to be honest. I mean, they had a lot of things going in their favor. They used streaks in back-to-back rounds. They had rigs, or excuse me, payloads in their hands as well, so it just seemed inevitable that it would be E6 who closed this one out. And honestly, ever since that first run happened, where they just brought 4 down immediately, that team ace definitely kind of set the pace for the series, letting them know, Rise Nation, we realize that you're 2-0, but we're Enigma 6. We're coming back. This isn't, we've been gone for so long. We weren't even in Black Ops 3, but we're back, and we're better than ever for some Infinite Warfare. Like we said, Rise Nation currently down 0-2. As they are currently 2-0 in their pool. It's kind of interesting to see, but open bracket teams definitely showing their full colors. Like we said, E6 dominating here early.
Yeah, and we just got to look for these Rise Nation players to wake up, you know. Get the Vegas partying out of you, you know. Just wake up and perform here. We should expect to see Rise Nation up 2-0 in this series count right now, but Enigma 6 showing they came to play. Just coming out off of those open bracket matches, it doesn't even seem like they're tired in the slightest as they come through in full force in map 1 and 2.
Now I'm curious to see how we obviously are able to witness how Enigma 6 is actually playing in uplink. Because technically in past titles, Rise Nation players are known, or Elevate, you know, back in the day, but those players who are kind of listed on the roster are known for their uplink play. Even Looney back whenever he was on Luminosity Gaming, that roster was a powerhouse when it came down to uplink. So I'm expecting them to maybe try to force a little bit of a comeback, but like we said, man, every time that I've counted out Enigma 6, they have absolutely shown through and shown that they are, without a doubt, one of the top teams here at MLG Vegas. So with that in mind...
Oh, that's a bold statement. You're already saying they're a top team?
Absolutely. Not, I'm not saying they're a top team, but I'm saying they're playing like they're a top team. They're beating one of the best teams right now in MLG Vegas, according to Day One. So I think they've kind of earned a respect title so far. Not saying they're the best team, but I'm saying they're beating one of the better teams.
Certainly want to give them some more time here, but they're looking really good in this series. I can't deny that. So you hop into Throwback Uplink. If you're just tuning in, we have Enigma 6 versus Rise Nation. Enigma 6 2-0 in their pool at the moment, are facing off against the open bracket team, Enigma 6. And Enigma 6 is mounting their lead already. What was a really odd choke from Rise Nation on that retaliation hardpoint. They mounted a huge lead, and they were looking very confident. The slaying was it was great for the first maybe 5 minutes of the hardpoint, and then they just fell apart. Enigma 6 was able to claw their way right back into the game. Search and Destroy just seemed like Enigma 6 had no real weaknesses, and there just wasn't anything coming from the star players on the side of Rise Nation except for Looney.
Right, and to kind of break down the maps up to this point, I know we talked about who's obviously won them, but it was Enigma 6 who took that game to an exact score of 250 to 230 on, like I said, retaliation hardpoint. And if you're just joining us, of course, that last map going in Enigma 6's favor as well. S&D Scorch 6-3. Now, of course, we're going to Throwback Uplink, but if it comes down to it, if Rise Nation can force that game 4, that'll be a hardpoint breakout. And if it comes down to it, if Rise Nation can maybe potentially bring it all the way down to a game 5, we'll be going to Crusher S&D, which I think would definitely be a thriller, but obviously E6 trying to clutch this one out now. But Rise Nation, their backs are against the wall. You're doing great so far in this tournament, but right now Enigma 6 has definitely seemed to be kind of their kryptonite. Yeah,
and so if we take a look at our screen here, we got the rig draft up at the moment. And something that stands out about this, really the only difference is that if you take a look at the Merc rig on both sides, you see the reactive armor payload. The only difference is the trait. We're seeing Shockwave in the hands of Looney. We're seeing Man-at-Arms, the passive trait there, on the side of Enigma 6 for General. Otherwise, everything else just completely standard, normal stuff. Active Camo, Rewind, and Overdrive are just those payloads that are so quick to get and they're so impactful. So, of course, want to see that on both sides. So, Landon, I got to get your predictions here for Rise and Enigma 6. Do you think that Enigma 6 causes this upset and 3-0 is the best team in the pool?
I mean, it's a hard one to make, right? Because, I mean, generally, I would definitely expect Rise Nation to probably make this comeback, but I've counted out E6 enough, I feel like. I mean, I've counted them out in the hard point. I was like, well, this is a very solid team when it comes into hard point so far in this tournament. E6 comes out, wins that one, kind of makes Rise Nation look a little bit silly toward the end of the game. I talk about Rise Nation. They're a really good search and destroy team. E6 comes out, 6-3s them. So, to continue on with the trend, I'm going to say Rise Nation wins this game, Fox. What are your thoughts?
It's really difficult because I've seen so little of Enigma 6, and they've already started off this this series completely exceeding my expectations. Rise Nation doesn't seem like they have their head in the game right now, but I feel like at this point they really know it's do or die. Like, they don't want this loss in their group. They want to be able to take out Enigma 6 and come out first in their pool. So I think that this is where they can turn it around, win themselves a map. I think that they have the coordination for this game mode, and they should be able to finally wake up and take over this series.
Well, we're both going with Rise Nation. Guys, feel free to let us know in the chat what your guys' thoughts are on this series. Do you think was going to walk away with game number 3? Do you think E6 will complete the 3-0? Or will Rise Nation at least force that game at number 4? We'll see actually how things start to line up. Fasten your seatbelt. It's time for some throwback uplink. Kills going here off the start. That's 2 go down for either side. Make it 3 down for either side. Looney able to win that 1v1 engagement versus Cade, so he is going to gain a little bit of map control for the most part, pushing out here through Bowling. Just trying to make sure he has this one locked down to potentially earn an early scoring opportunity for Rise.
Wow, so he just got beat by a pistol at mid-range. That's definitely a gunfight I would have expected Looney to take pretty easily there. He pushed up past the drone, which made sense. He's trying to get a solid positioning towards Bowling. However, losing that initial gunfight to that Hornet is going to spell trouble for Rise Nation, who originally had some decent map pressure from Looney. So now we're seeing another fight towards middle map. Expect to see a lot of competition here around arches and middle map, because that's where the drone is spawned. That's the best route to take the drone, is through this bike path. So a lot of engagements will be going down in and around that area. Not too much towards the sides of Blue and Barn. One player on the flank here from Enigma 6. That's going to be player 6 on your mini-map, Cade, in the corner. You want to see him make something of this soon. 2 players fall. They should be able to take this through Grandma's, but Facento, waiting patiently, reads that play immediately and is able to take out the drone's first escort. So now Facento, acting as the front line for his team, wants to wait for someone to expose himself again. Playing on their mistakes, he's able to find himself a kill and an assist. The drone still coming in. That's Proto in range, can't get the 1-point play, and it looks like we're seeing a turnover in favor of Rise Nation as the drone runs back towards mid-map. Only 1 player of Enigma 6 behind them to keep up some pressure. Good
hold there from Rise Nation. Really enjoyed that play from Facento, just trying to hold them off. And even if he wasn't getting the kills, as long as he just waits for his teammates to kind of line back up with him, that's all that they needed. Well, we'll see if defense turns into offense. Felony looking just through underpass, trying to close, maybe set a little bit of a lead blocker for his teammate, as Looney is going to grab that drone. Maybe you can see a team pass come in, but no, the kills are coming in. E6 quickly foils that push. Drone still in an advantageous situation for Rise Nation, but the kills go down, and just like that, E6 now on the offensive yet again.
All right, and Maurice pushing up towards mid for the drone. He's got 2 E6 players in front of him and behind him. One coming up on the side of Barn, not really making too much of an impact as General. He comes up so late, and his 3 teammates weren't able to do anything in a 3 versus 4 situation. Now he's just going to see himself dead. General currently double positive, so he's certainly contributing a lot in the kill column. And right there, he was just a little slow to the punch.
I really like what E6 is doing, because after they just scored that, they don't immediately rush toward that drone. They don't even try to get immediate map control. All they do is they say, you know what, we just scored that, we got a few down, let's just try to play our time. Let's try to lean back and just trying to see if we can get more map control as far as kills are concerned. So E6 definitely playing their roles correctly, not getting a little bit too, not getting too aggressive, but playing exactly how they need to. Might be catching the Rise Nation side off guard, trying to look for any potential weaknesses. You see that there aren't much, as E6 able to find another kill up in top, and the drone's still in Proto's hands, trying to get rid of that one. Is he able to throw it away, but that's going to be up in Felony's hands as he tosses that one down just before his life is ended. So with that in mind, after the first 3 minutes of this first side, E6 still with a very slim lead of 1-point advantage, but Aqua throws that drone down. If he only would have known the players are just to his side, he could have got that 1-point toss off. So the drone is down in E6's base. 3 of them fall, and it looks like the drone is going to be finally in Felony's hands. No one was there to grab it, and now they might have a scoring opportunity. The pass might need to come in, but it seems they are going to be looking over. The overextension potentially could be coming in for E6, because now Rise Nation have the lead.
And so you guys might have seen right there that Aqua actually ignored the drone and moved up. He's currently on a 5 streak. I think that's 10 times out of 10 that's the right play from Aqua, is to continue slaying, get his streaks, be the front line for the drone, and get those kills. You know, you don't want to paint yourself as a huge target when you're the most important player on the map towards those score streaks. So
Facento's waiting. Facento's winning the base. He just gets another one.
Aqua finding 2 more kills around middle map, though. It's going to be huge for a team in terms of map pressure towards mid around the drone spawn. That's really big for them. Facento finding so many kills here. Didn't expect him to stay alive for that long. He's finally taken down. But the drone is still being moved up through middle map regardless. Looney knows they're spawning up blue. He has time to get a 1-point play and then die. And he makes the most of his life there as he puts some more numbers on the board for Rise Nation.
Rise have done a fantastic job in this last minute of getting some points on the board. A quick 5, but E6 trying to be the last person to score on this first side. Proto throws that drone down, and streaks are coming through here for Facento. It looks like he is going to be able to find 2, actually. That's going to be big as 4 go down now for E6. So Rise Nation now pushing forward. 35 seconds remaining. They also have the 4-point advantage.
Oh.
Facento ends up getting dropped, and now Looney has an opportunity to potentially make something happen, but he is going to push out to the opposite side. Potentially he is going to go through field. Maybe just wait for his teammates to maybe try to lock this one down. He has an opportunity to go for the 1-point toss. He can throw it from here, but he potentially wants the 2-point toss, but he is going to back up, and wouldn't be a bad idea for him just to throw this off the map. Yeah,
Looney's by himself here. He knows that he needs to try and maybe get a kill here or something like that, but first and foremost, he needs to reset that drone and buy his team some time. So no one from E6 is actually able to kill him. He comes out on top, and so now this is a flank for Rise Nation, and no one even thinks to turn around. No communication there at all. However, the round's over anyway. Not too much time to make anything happen. And I gotta commend Facento for that first half there. I think that his base defense for Rise Nation was incredible. He was able to hold off Grandma's house very well for his team, and we're seeing that it's reflected in the scoreboard as he's currently 18-11.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing that thing in either base. I mean, really, he was able to be very decent when it came down to defensive plays, like you said, back in Grandma's. When he was kind of in E6's base on that first side, he was also doing a great job at trying to stay alive and was able to get that dunk. But we'll see how E6 does respond. It seems that for the first time in a long time, they are going to be down. Obviously not out, currently up 2-0. Facento with that rewind in hand. He's going to spot someone near that bike. Streak shuts him down as well. So 3 go down here off the break, and now Looney with that drone in hand. Streak's coming in, maybe providing a little bit of assistance. It looks like that toss not coming in yet. Still just waiting. Facento trying to be the lead blocker, ends up falling. Looks like that toss is just going to become short.
Facento starting off the game shooting rockets with that OSA. He's finally taken down off of that streak. And now it's Enigma 6's turn with the drone as Proto takes point with the uplink drone in his hands. He's getting fired at from top soda. He's trapped here, and he knows he just has to hug the wall, reset that armor, and let his team buy him some time. Playing towards bowling here. No engagement too close to him, but he's still getting tagged up at a distance. The player behind him, top arch, is able to finally get the kill. It's Facento winning those mid to long range engagements with the OSA. He has access to the rewind, pops it to dart back over towards Arches. He's taken down anyway by M. Ruiz. Now, as rewind is burned, Enigma 6 is in a decent position with those 2 kills. However, they're trying to sniff out the players that are hiding around bike path. Just one under, and Maurice has to win this gunfight. He's able to catch him with the height advantage and a drone in hand. He's rewarded with some map pressure here with the objective as all of Rise Nation spawns up towards blue. This is looking like another point opportunity for Enigma 6.
E6 could be doing the exact same thing that Rise Nation did to them in that first side. Is 3 points now on the side of E6. The 2-point play coming in from Ruiz. Those players still spawning off toward blue as they're desperately trying to get that overextension. It's the question of, do they try to challenge this one, or do they just let them get the scoring opportunity? It looks like they will let them get that scoring opportunity. So that one is now going, I believe, to be tied. So yes, just like that, Looney, of course, gets the kill. And just like that, it seems that E6 is the exact same thing that Rise did to them in the beginning. They make them spawn blue, they get 2-point dunks out of it, and now this game is tied with just 3 minutes left.
Rise started off the game hot. You don't want to see Enigma 6 come back the same way they did in that hard point. They cannot choke that way 2 times in one series. Aqua's trying to prevent it from happening, getting those 2 kills, hovering around Grandma's, being such a huge threat as a zoning AR, and an incredible job at that he does. However, he's finally cut short by Caden and Ruiz's pressure on Grandma's house. Still 5-5, nothing's coming from that play from Rise Nation.
E6 doing a great job there, obviously on offense, and then turning it into defensive plays. Proto spots 1, just an underground. Can he find the second? Pulls out the Hornet, but it's not able to sting anyone there as 3 go down. Rise Nation Aqua just off to the side. He might have to shut down that side, but it looks like they are going to be going through the opposite way. Underpass is the route that they choose. It seems that it might not work out. Cade actually decided to use the overdrive, but it seems that he didn't earn it, so it is not going to be taken out. Felony still turn that drone forward, able to shut down 1. Proto in general respond as well, so 2 versus 3 as the moment does set itself, but Felony looking through that yellow Grandma's side, but he does drop.
So on the side of Rise Nation, let's take a look at their utility. We have Aqua, who has the overdrive payload ready, and we have 3 of the 4 players in Enigma 6 who are also approaching their payload with just 2 minutes left in the game. Cade still has access to his. So almost all 4 players on Enigma 6 have their payloads ready, and that could be several scoring opportunities for them, whereas Rise Nation really don't have the same. They're going to have to outplay Enigma 6 hard here if the utility is not on their side.
Talk about utility. Aqua spots 1 just from the side, able to shut down that player. I believe he's using the scare. Finds 1, finds the second as well. Big plays there coming in from Aqua towards the end of this game, but here come a streak actually from Generals. He's rocked that scare throughout the entire series, and it seemed to work out for him very, very well. talk about the rigs, Fox. So like you said, E6 getting very close to all 4 of theirs. It's all about the kills at this point. If they can get a few down, they could easily make a scoring opportunity happen. When we talk about rigs, here comes Aqua with his own payload. Can he get this one forward? He goes for the 1-point toss, and it is able to go through. So with just a hair over a minute remaining, Rise do find a little bit of light, as they're going to be up 6-5.
There really shouldn't be a way that Enigma 6 chokes this. There are so many players that are close to their payloads right now, all 4 of them. They have enough time to use at least 2 of them here for some scoring opportunities. It's just a matter of can they get the kills to put themselves in those situations. And here it is with Cade in position with the OSA and 2 kills going in favor of Enigma 6. That drone's going to move towards bottom arches. Some poor movement from Cade, and he's still rewarded by a kill on the Vicento. Overdrive this pop. They want to make sure that they close this game out in a healthy way. Up by 1 point after that dunk. They're well on their way to 3-0ing Rise Nation in their first pool play match.
They get this drone through. The pass comes in.
Setting up the relay. General has it.
1 player to beat. There's going to be number 3 here. Looney's able to find the gunfight before it go down. That's going to be, I believe, a dunk coming in from E6 as they're able to make it happen. 20 seconds remaining. This is looking grim for Rise Nation. E6 potentially with the 3-0. Proto throws that drone forward, and that should just about do it. E6 coming from the open bracket are able to 3-0 their team, who is currently, Rise Nation, who is currently 2-0 in their group.
That's
absolutely insane stuff.
That is an embarrassing way to lose both your respawns in a series and get upset in your first match of the day. Definitely a disappointing performance there coming from Rise. You'd expect a whole lot more out of them, but you've got to give credit to Enigma 6 as well. We can just see how strong they are in terms of the fundamentals of that uplink game. I feel like they were playing off of their spawns very well. We saw some great kills coming out of Cade, so many multi-kills, and they were able to respond to just how strong Rise started off the game again.
Well, one thing's for sure, we talk about that matchup when it comes down to this group. You know, we talk about Optic